Chamberlains, let the banquet begin!
Halloween is coming up, and that means we're all binging horror movies on Netflix and playing some of our scariest games. When you do decide to go back to older survival horror games in your collection, why not try beating a few bosses while you're at it? The bosses in this video are all terrifying and put you in the right mood for this scary time of year. And we tried leaving out obvious ones like Pyramid Head and Nemesis. Here are 10 scary bosses you should beat in time for Halloween. Silent Hill Homecoming is definitely not the greatest game in the series, but it does have some very good boss fights. One of our favorite ones has to be the battle against Scarlet. This is such a terrifying boss, and it gives us the creeps every time we play it. Scarlet is actually the horrible reincarnation of a young girl who was killed by her father.
My God. Forgive me.
Fighting this porcelain child spider hybrid is a great way to get in the mood for Halloween.
I am the sorrow. Like you, I too am filled with sadness.
The Metal Gear Solid series has flirted with the survival horror genre a couple of times. There's the awesome battle against the very central vampire Vamp, but we have to go with the Sorrow on this one. This boss from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is extremely scary. He summons all the soldiers you've killed in the game, and you have to hear their tormented screams. If you played the game aggressively like we did, that means you'll be there for quite some time. We love it when a game makes your past decisions come back to haunt you.
The spirit of the warrior will always be with you. Don't be sad. We'll meet again someday.
We actually really liked The Evil Within when it came out, and we're even more excited to now finally play the sequel. The Keeper from the first game is a very scary boss that haunted our dreams for days. He has the nickname Boxhead for obvious reasons and walks around with a huge hammer. Getting caught by this guy means instant death, and he just keeps pursuing you no matter how hard you run. You kill him over and over again, but he just keeps coming back. This is definitely one of the most intense boss battles you can experience. Highlord Wallner from Dark Souls 3 is our favorite when it comes to terrifying monsters. Who doesn't love a huge skeleton that commands an army of smaller skeletons? Highlord Wallner was once the ruler and conqueror of Carthus until he fell into the abyss, becoming the monstrosity he is now. This boss is vulnerable to weapons that deal holy damage, so make sure you bring a couple of those along with you. The Super Nintendo Classic Mini gave us the chance to relive some of our favorite childhood memories. It also made us remember how much Crock Mayer from Super Metroid scared us when we were little. This huge boss is located in the fiery depths of Norfair. The fight is pretty original as he doesn't have a health bar and you need to push him back into the lava. After you beat him comes the big surprise. His skeleton makes one final attempt to kill you until it explodes into tiny pieces. Such a scary and epic moment in one of the best games from the Super Nintendo era. Resident Evil 7 brought the horror back to the franchise, and it's a great game to play during Halloween. The scariest boss in this game has to be Marguerite Baker. This crazy mother confronts you 2 times in the game, and it's absolutely terrifying. First, you'll fight her in the old house, which shouldn't be too hard. The real challenge comes the second time when you take her on in the greenhouse. Here, you need to equip the flamethrower and prepare for one hell of a boss fight. Make sure you keep collecting ammo because it will run out fast.
Miserable traitors! Now receive your just rewards for your disloyalty! Betrayer!
Castlevania Lord of Shadow 2 is maybe one of the worst games in the franchise. However, we did enjoy the boss fight against Zoomin. Sometimes we play this to hear the voice of Patrick Stewart alone.
I'll force your soul to serve me!
Zoomin is one of Satan's closest advisors and the human form of death itself. He loves to use attacks that are unblockable when you're keeping your distance, so you need to get up close and personal. Like any good boss fight, he goes through a couple of phases before you're finally able to beat him. Finishing Zoomin off for good is definitely worth it. The new It movie brought terrifying clowns back in a big way. We expect a lot of Halloween costumes will be based on this phenomenon. When it comes to gaming, we have to pick Adam the Clown as our favorite type of nightmare fuel. This chain-wielding clown from Dead Rising is a complete psychopath. Being chased by this guy around a shopping mall is something you don't easily forget. The boss fight itself is also pretty challenging, so you better come prepared before facing off against this clown from hell.
I was a walking punchline.
When you talk about scary bosses in games, you don't expect a Kirby game to show up. However, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, has a very creepy enemy in an otherwise child-friendly game. Zero 2 is the final secret boss in the game. This fallen angel is the reincarnation of Zero, who died at the end of Kirby Dream Land 3. The Kirby boss cries blood out of its eye when you shoot it. The whole thing is just very disturbing and un-Nintendo-like. Blood in a Kirby game? What's next? Mario holding a gun? Oh, never mind. Nothing says Halloween like fighting a giant ball of corpses. Castlevania Symphony of the Night gave us one of the most memorable boss battles in the form of Legion. To add to the nightmare, the screaming bodies fall off as you damage the boss. You really couldn't ask for a more terrifying boss, if you ask us. Which games are you going to play to get in the mood for Halloween? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.